Good morning, everybody. How you doing?
Good. Good morning, everyone.
Welcome to Saturday Zoom. Today's topic, protein. We're going to talk about what is a protein, because we kind of all know what protein is, right? We know how to, what is a protein, but we may not know in depth about what a protein is and why we need it. How much do you need daily? Because that's kind of controversial sometimes. People think you need a lot. Other people say we get too much in the standard American diet. So we're going to look at those amounts. And how do you know if you're getting too much or too little? And then quality proteins. What are some really good proteins out there that you should be getting? Whether you are animal-based or plant-based or combination of both, what are the better proteins for your body? So that's what we're going to talk about today. And before we get started, as usual, let's talk about what's in your diffuser. Mary's got orange and cinnamon, right?
And lemongrass and the other ones.
Yeah, you should try that luscious lemon blend. That is amazing.
Yeah,
I
might be on my next order.
I was talking with someone. You can't get it on ER yet, unfortunately, because I have a friend who wanted it. Or no, maybe I don't know if you can get it on ER. I don't think so. Usually you can't use your points to buy something until like January. And I convinced one of my customers to add it on, and we'll use the points to pay for it. She's like, oh yeah, because she's really into citrus. And then I said, oh, can't do it. Sorry, we'll have to wait. But that's an amazing one. I have one that is reminiscent of lemongrass. It's got a lemon feel, but it's more grassy. It's more earthy, and I feel like I'm in the jungle. And that is the Incan Melissa, which is brand new. It's one of the convention oils that came in the Finca botanical kit, which is really earthy stuff. Like there's a Palo Santo in there, the Incan Melissa, and then a couple of new ones that I haven't explored yet. Paikotea and Ecuadorian Ilan, and then a Palo Santo, and then this Incan Melissa, which is new. I kind of like it. It's refreshing.
Did you blend it with anything else, or do you just have that in your diffuser?
I just have that because I thought, well, let me see what these are all about, these oils. So so it's kind of refreshing and kind of calming at the same time. So,
and speaking of luscious lemon, I have luscious lemon and the vanilla verbena in there.
I want to eat that.
And it smells wonderful. Bobby, actually, my daughter showed me or was diffusing it. And I said, okay, what do you got going in there? I can smell the lemon. And she says, it's lemon and the vanilla, luscious lemon and vanilla. And I was like, oh, it smells wonderful.
Wow. Yeah, I like that. That's
Sounds good.
Gonna try that tomorrow. All right. Well, let's jump into protein. We have this nutrition unit going for, we don't know how long, because let's face it, there's a lot to talk about with nutrition, and you are what you eat, right? What is that? Hippocrates says all disease begins in the gut. Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. No.
Just let food be thy medicine.
There's two parts to that. And I just quoted him on my website, on my latest blog. Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. That was the two parts of it. Yep. So medicine be thy food. Yeah. So that's how it goes. And so it all goes back to nutrition, folks. If you're not eating properly, or if you are eating proper nutrients contaminated with other crap, then it's going to affect your health. And you know, I truly believe that a lot of what's wrong with us can be cured through our diets. Not everything. And just to be clear, Kathy and I were just talking about this. We are not doctors, we are not pharmacists, we are not medical professionals in any way. We are just outspoken opinionists here to help educate you and get you to think on your own and make good choices. So nothing we say can be taken as a prescription for good health, right?
Right.
All right, so what is a protein? Well, we know like our meat is our protein, right? Meat, fish, poultry, all that good stuff. But protein is a vital nutrient in building and repairing tissues. It's one of those macronutrients. There are three that we get from food, right? Three building blocks, three macronutrients that are three large molecules, I should say. And one is protein, fat, and carbohydrates. And those are the building blocks. So it is required for building, maintaining, and repairing tissue, cells, and organs throughout your body. When you eat protein, it's broken down into the 20 amino acids, which are the basic building blocks for energy and growth and all of that. That's why we tell little kids, eat your meat so you can grow. It's true. One of the amino acids, tryptophan, influences mood by producing serotonin, which can reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety. So if you have a lot of anxiety, eat meat, eat some protein. Most animal sources of protein, such as meat, poultry, fish, eggs, and dairy, deliver all of the 20 amino acids that you need. While the plant-based proteins like grains, beans, vegetables, nuts, they often lack one or more of these nutrients, of these amino acids. And so what like vegetarians and vegans do is they add a variety, so you don't eat just nuts or you don't eat just grains, but a combination of things. Because most of them, I'm quoting, what was her name? Whitney English, registered dietitian. She said it's a misconception that these plant-based proteins don't include all of the amino acids. They do, but not in significant numbers for some of them, which is why you need to have a variety of foods. And lost my train of thought. Watch that train go by. Well, we'll move on to why do we need it, right? What are those health benefits? We already said it helps to grow and repair cells. It gives us energy to get up and go. So if you are lackluster, you might want to make sure you're getting enough protein. And we'll talk about the numbers in a little bit. It builds lean muscles. It's essential for weight management. Keeps your immune system functioning healthy, right? Maintains your heart health and your respiratory system, and it speeds recovery after exercise, which is why a lot of athletes might have a protein drink or eat some eggs or some kind of protein after exercise, because it helps to replenish and repair the muscles that you used in that workout. Let's see, it's vital to the growth and development of children and maintaining health in your senior years. We're going to talk about the difference in adults, senior adults and non-senior adults, and how much protein is enough. It can reduce your risk for diabetes and cardiovascular disease. And I would add, as long as you're not eating a ton of fatty red meat, right? You have to use good quality protein. It may help you think and recall, improve your memory recall. So better eat some more protein. It helps you, I almost read that same one again. See, I need some protein. It may help you maintain a healthy weight by curbing your appetite, making you feel full longer, and fueling you with extra energy for exercising. Um, and you should be ensured to include protein in every meal to help stave off the munchies in between so that you're not getting those in between snacks. And also you want to have your protein intake throughout the day, not just, all at once. So spread it out. And eating a high quality protein can help you maintain healthy skin, nails, and hair, build muscle, and maintain lean body mass while dieting. All good things, right? So we will get into those quality proteins because that makes a difference. It totally makes a difference. So how much do you need? Well, it's pretty concrete that there's a formula. You should eat 8.8 grams of protein per kilogram. Okay, we're not in the metric system here for the most part. A kilogram is 2.2 pounds. So if here's the formula. You divide your weight by 2.2, and then you multiply that answer, that quotient, by 0.8 to tell you specifically how much protein you need to get you through your day. And that is sans exercise. Well, I think regular exercise is included, but if you're an athlete, you'd increase that. So a man who's about an average man, 180 pounds, would need 65 grams per day. For women, it's the same formula, except if you are pregnant, know that there's no specific requirements for being pregnant, but as you gain weight, you need more protein because the baby is going to be taking that. The baby needs that protein too. So pregnant women need to increase their protein as they gain weight. And speaking of pregnant, once you have given birth and you are lactating, you need an additional 20 grams of protein a day. That's not my future. Maybe someday I'll be giving this advice to my daughter, but all right. So now let's talk a little bit about athletes need more. So if 0.8 is the recommended per 2.2 pounds, athletes need 1.2 to 2 grams of protein per 2.2 pounds of body weight. And it depends on their training. So it depends on what things that they are doing, how much energy they're expending, all that sort of thing. So athletes probably should consult their coaches and doctors and things like that, as should we all. Note, protein powders are not necessary, but they are just good for convenience. So especially after a workout, if people want to replenish and help build that lean muscle and repair muscles, having the protein in a protein drink or something like that is convenient. Kids require 1 to 1.5 pounds of protein for every 2 pounds of body weight, or 1 gram of protein per kilogram. So, for those people who are watching in Europe right now, it's 1 gram per kilogram. So 1 to 1.5. So that's like athlete status, right? And
That's
then
hard to get
what?
kids to, it's so hard to get kids to eat like the meat protein. So you can mix it up, like you said earlier. That's a combination of all the different types of protein, is what we're talking about, not just specifically meat or fish or whatever.
Eggs. I think eggs, well, it depends on the kids. My kids loved scrambled eggs, so that was always a good way to start the day. But you can also sprinkle in some of those plant-based proteins in other things. So we'll talk about that when we get to what these other plant-based proteins are. And in general, you don't have to worry because we get a lot of protein that we don't even know we're getting protein. So a protein deficiency is probably hard to do. Opinion. Okay. Teens need more. So teenage boys need about 52 grams of protein per day. Girls need about 46 grams per day. But if you're small or large for your age, those numbers would, need to be adjusted, of course. And now older adults. So older adults should aim for 1 to 1.5 grams of protein for every kilogram of body weight. So think about a half a gram per pound, if that's easier, right? And they do not specify necessarily like what is an older adult, but I did a little bit more research on that one. So, and I wanted to know why. Why do seniors need more, than the average person? The research found that seniors are not able to use the protein as easily as younger people, so their bodies actually need more protein in order to meet its needs. And it can help you, the diet and high in protein is going to help you protect you from losing muscle. And muscle is important because you use these muscles every day. So in one scenario, they talked about how if you're not eating enough protein as you age, your muscle mass is going to decrease. And then simple tasks such as just getting out of a chair is going to be more difficult. So I know with the elderly, they don't have the appetite a lot of times to eat all of that. So that might be a great opportunity to supplement with some of those plant-based sprinkle on to increase the amount of protein. So also in seniors, the muscles attached to your bones is where protein is needed the most. And these are the ones that move your body. And in lean young adults, 30% of the body's protein lives in this muscles. 50% of their total body weight could be muscle. But as you age, that muscle mass decreases. By 75 to 80 years old, only 25% of one's body is made of muscles on average. So most of the muscles you lose is in the legs, which leads to weakness, tremors, feeling tired and achy when walking. So, we're talking up there in the 80s. And aging also uses up their reserves. So if you ever wondered why these kids can like live on hardly any food and be like bouncing around, it's because they have a lot of reserve in their body, right? By the age of 65, you may have used up a lot of your reserves. And so a poor diet can lead to you being frail and weak. Let's see, there's a lot about this in here, but I think I covered it. I did a little extra. So it's repetitive, so we're not going to go any further than that. So yeah, like, do you eat enough protein? What do you think? No?
No, probably not. I've
No?
never counted or never kind of figured it out, but I don't think I do. I start the day great with my protein drink.
Mhm.
And I do add plants to that as well, but not all of them are protein plants.
Well, that's your homework, ladies, is to start paying attention to the labels, or you can Google things very easily about how much protein is in something. And I'll put up some numbers a little bit later, and you can screenshot it to see, how much protein is in certain things. But I think you might be surprised if you track it, that you're probably on track for that. How do you know if you're not getting enough? Okay. As I said before, with the standard American diet and the way we are served food in restaurants, right? You get that plate and you go, oh, I got 3 meals here, right? We generally do get enough protein. It's surprising. But if you were somebody who was not getting enough protein, there are certain symptoms. So feeling unusually fatigued or weak, if you're moody, brittle or damaged hair and nails, flaky skin, being hungry a lot of the time, and of course put in check your emotions there. Are you really hungry, or are you doing some emotional eating or whatever it is, right? But if you're generally hungry, maybe you're not getting enough protein, because that's what keeps you satiated. Getting sick a lot or staying sick longer than expected, slow healing of wounds, and if you have edema, which is swelling of the feet or the hands. So those are just some signs that maybe you're not getting enough protein. Symptoms associated with too much protein: intestinal discomfort and indigestion, dehydration, unexplained exhaustion, nausea, irritability, headache, turning the page here, and diarrhea. Now, I have intestinal issues from time to time, but I noticed some of those effects when I first started a plant-based diet, that I was adding extra fiber and extra protein to, and I had some of those issues, which is an initial reaction that your body accumulates or gets accustomed to after a while. So it was a change in the amount of protein I was taking and or the amount of fiber, but then my body adjusted to that. So I think I'm okay. There are risks for getting too much protein, but those are kind of limited. Okay. So the risks could be cardiovascular disease. And I think that's particular to eating too much red meat or fatty meats, not taking the skin off the chicken, that kind of stuff. Blood vessel disorders, liver and kidney injuries, seizures, and death. Okay. That's a little scary, but most of the time, as I said, you would have to have a great number of grams of protein daily in order to be at risk at all. And those who are most at risk are people who have another illness, underlying illness, like a kidney disease or liver disease, diabetes, heart disease. Those people, you know, they have to really watch the type of protein and how much. But for the average person in relatively good health, getting too much protein isn't going to be terrible, except for if you're eating too much protein, you're probably eating too many calories. And if you're not exercising and working that off, then it goes back to calories in and calories out. You know, that you have to keep your body active enough to burn off the calories in order to maintain your weight, right? If it's equal, you're maintaining. If one is greater or less than the other, then you're either going to gain weight or lose weight. All right, here's my pause for Kathy to jump in and say something smart, because I need a break.
Okay, well, you already talked about too much protein, and it's not just the amount of protein, but it's the quality of the protein that we're concerned about as well. So so you're looking at a high quality protein versus a low quality protein. And what is that? Okay. Are you eating organic protein? Or are you eating just the, regular processed protein? Are you eating organic grass-fed protein? Or are you eating organic, grass-fed, grass-finished? Okay, so everyone probably thinks if it's grass-fed, it's perfect, but there is a difference between grass-fed and grass-finished. So it should say that along with that organic USDA organic label on your package, whether you're eating, even with eggs. Okay, so are the eggs organic, free range, or are these hens just being cooped up in a little small 2x2 area? And are they given, if they're not organic, could they be given, hormones to help plump them up? So I'm going to jump back to the looking at the grass-fed, grass-finished beef and tell you a little bit about that. So
you're looking for that particular label, and most of what you find in the grocery store, unless you're seeking it out, is just plain old ordinary beef, and you don't know the quality, right? Unless it has those
exactly.
labels. So tell us about those labels and what they mean.
Okay, so grass-fed beef describes meat from a cattle that ate grass. So that's what their main body or their main consumption was, grass for
Well, that sounds good. That
It
sounds
does sound good, doesn't it? On the other hand, it may be used to label meat from cattle that were started on a grass-fed diet, but then they either received a supplemental grain for feed or are finished on a fully grain-based diet. Okay, so grass-fed comes from cows that spend the last few months of their lives eating grain to plump them up. And they may also be given hormones to fatten them up as well, and other things. So we have to be careful of that. If it just says grass-fed and there's no organic label on it, even for grass-fed, they could still be eating that grain, but hopefully they're eating at those last couple months of their life to fatten them up. Hopefully they're eating non-GMO grains, and they're not given anything else. So these cows are not necessarily pasture raised even. They could be cooped up in smaller areas and given the grass instead of grazing naturally, which you would want them to do.
And so you really don't know.
No.
There's no way to know that.
If it just says grass-fed, they could be cooped up. We don't know.
And the idea of the hormones in being given to the cows or the steer or whatever, what they eat is what you eat when you eat that meat.
Or the dairy products from them as well.
And antibiotics in there too sometimes, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if they're cooped up like that, they're probably getting more, I don't want to say disease, but that antibiotic is
possibility
preventing them from getting the diseases, certain diseases, right? And so now that's all transferred to us either in the meat, it's transferred to us in the milk and all other dairy, whatever comes from a cow, butter, whatever, right? So that's something else to think about. But now if you say grass-fed, and this will say both on the label of an organic USDA organic labeled meat, it could say grass-fed, grass-finished. So what does that mean? Okay, so grass-finished beef comes from cattle that ate nothing but grass and other things out on the pasture there, but grass for their entire life. So they're not cut off at 3 months to fatten them up. So those cows are probably a little bit leaner. I'm sure the meat might not be, depending on their exercise level and everything. Sometimes 100% grass-fed beef is a little less fatty, so it might be a little tougher, but not always. It depends again on where you got it from. So there's several different reasons to choose 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef, including a number of health benefits from that. But grass-finished beef is usually 20% lower in calories than a grain-finished beef because you're not getting all that fat and all that other stuff added in there. And grass-finished beef has higher levels of omega-3 fatty acids, which is also good for your heart. And CLAs are called conjugated lipolic acid, okay? And they're an essential fatty acid that fights cancer and inhibits body fat. And then you also get better vitamins A and E from the grass-fed, grass-finished organic, USDA organic. So I don't know if you had that. Is this about the time that you wanted to show that thing that described that
Oh,
little
different. Yeah, let me see if I can find it. I
where
see.
it says 100% organic.
Yeah. I have a couple of them, but I think I'll share this one first and make it bigger so we'll be able to see it and read it. I got to go back, share screen. Da, da, da. There we go.
Okay, there we go. So you can see under the 100% organic seal, if that seal is only allowed, the USDA seal on that particular item is only allowed if it's 100% certified organic ingredients and processes, and whatever else is put in there. There's no GMOs in 100% organic, and all ingredients comply with the national list of allowed and prohibited substances. And there is a certification required. And then under, if it's labeled just organic, not saying 100% organic. So the seal is still allowed, but it's 95% certified organic ingredients. There's no GMOs. And non-organic ingredients comply with a national list. So there's specific things that they will allow in organic products if they still have the seal on there. So, okay, and then certification again is required. But if it's made with organic, as you can see there, that the organic seal is not allowed. It must specify which ingredients are organic and at least 70% certified organic ingredients. There's no GMOs, no organic, non-organic ingredients comply with the national list, and certification is required. And on our last one, organic ingredients, the organic seal is not allowed because it's not completely organic. It's a product, it can't be described as organic. So there's no specific percentage of certified organic, what do I want to say, things in it. You know, it may contain GMOs along with some organic things in it, but the compliance with the national list is not required. So they don't have to have all those extra added ingredients in there to be specifically organic. And it cannot be certified, or certification is not required just to say organic ingredients on a label. So you really have to read your labels and check it out, maybe research it, you know, type it into the EWG, and there's other things that can tell you more about that product.
I would say, as I look at this, it's not just the seal, but it's the wording. So if you have a product that you want to look for products that say 100% organic or organic with that seal, because if made with organic, that is specific language that also comes from the USDA. But I think if you found a package and it said organic and it didn't have the seal or organic ingredients, as you can see in that last column, there's actually no specification there. And so you don't really know what you're getting. And they can say it's organic, but there's no investigation there as to how it's organic or what is an organic, you know. And if it were truly organic and worth the money for the organic, then that company should go to the extra mile and, you know, be certified and hit those requirements. So I think the idea is like just seeing organic on a label doesn't mean crap.
Exactly.
Look for that seal or the term made with organic, which means at least 70% of the ingredients are organic. 70% is not bad, right? But just organic with no seal, you don't know what you're getting. You're getting a marketing ploy is what you're getting.
Right. So this kind of leads into the rest of what I was going to talk about. We kind of talked about the first few items on there about where organic foods, when it comes to organic foods, the organic standards are process-based. So they're looking at the entire system of going from, you know, when that calf is born and, you know, what they're eating, and they follow it all the way through to the end of end of life or end to the retail end of things when they package it, after its life is over and they're completely grass-fed, grass-finished. So that's one thing that they do. They also make sure that their soil, the USDA also makes sure the soil that they have and the grass that they're feeding on or whatever they're feeding on is pesticide free. So it's healthy soil. There's no antibiotics being administered to the cattle, none of that. But also that during the process of the meat or dairy, they have to make sure that the facilities that they're packaged in or processed in, that they also follow or they're followed by an inspector to look at, or an organic certifier to make sure that the things are not processed with any artificial colors, preservatives, flavors, or they have any contact with anything that's prohibited. So meaning non-organic substances. So, and then to prevent the GMOs from being introduced to organic production, producers do not use genetically modified seeds or other materials when planting crops. But they also, around their farms, they have like a buffer kind of system. And I don't know if that buffer is so much land between them and other farms or trees or what the exact system is. So this stuff doesn't just blow into, pesticides being sprayed in the air on the next door farm, doesn't just blow into their area. So these farms are probably separated pretty far apart. And again, the USDA checks to make sure there is a buffer system around their farm of some kind.
Wow. Well, all of that is great information to have before you go to the grocery store, because you are what you eat. And what's that other one? You either pay the farmer or you pay the doctor. I think not, I don't want to sound like, oh man, you can't ever eat anything else, because you go out to restaurants and you don't really know the quality of the proteins that they're using or their vegetables or whatever, unless you go to something that just touts that they're farm to table organic, whatever, but you just don't know. So I think this applies to when you're feeding yourself, to do the best that you can. These things, it's not going to hurt you to go out to eat and eat a non-organic or a grass-fed but not grass-finished animal product, once in a while. It has a cumulative effect on your body. And so if you're always eating like that, you could have issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the more you can take control and responsibility for what you are putting in your body, the better chances your health is. And I guess the hardest part about that is that you never know. Right? It's hard to determine, to pinpoint, oh man, I should have stopped eating beef so long ago because that made me have this.
XYZ, yeah.
Whatever. You don't know. All you can do is do the best you can with what you have, with the knowledge that you have, the resources, and try to not, complicate your body chemistry by adding all this other stuff. But like I said, I think if there were clear-cut evidence that, this causes cancer and this causes dementia or whatever it is, that people would be more apt to follow those guidelines and not eat ice cream. I'm not going to do that right now, but it's like, it's not clear cut. It's sort of esoteric. It's like, well, yeah, these are all the things that you should do for your health, but you're not going to see the results
instantaneously.
Yeah.
And I always think back when we talk about what's healthy and what's not healthy. Our chiropractor posted on their page this little slide of Okay, are you, and the caption on it was, are you feeding health or are you feeding disease?
Right.
So that was, I thought that was just a great little picture that she posted. And so when you reach for something, is it more times than not going to be more of a healthy choice and less of a disease choice, you know, of eating something? And like you said, it doesn't mean you have to be perfect, but are you feeding health or disease depending on what you're eating? And again, like I said, you don't have to make that, you know, 100% one way or the other. Just, it's up to you to decide.
Right. Right. I have that graphic someplace, um, but I don't know. Um, I don't know how to find it because it doesn't have the same wording, but it's a very similar sentiment that I
Mhm.
actually have printed out and I put someplace, probably in my husband's office. I think it was on the refrigerator in his office back in our old house, but I don't know how to find it right now. So um because I'd love to share that, but not gonna happen. Doesn't even show me any.
Sure, I can find it and share it into the comments.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. I'll know I'll be able to find mine later, but right now I can't. So let's talk about good sources of high quality protein. Okay, we already know about the labels, but let's talk about specifics. So the top of the list: fish, poultry, dairy products, beans, nuts and seeds, tofu and soy products. And yep, that's it. Now, you have to also be aware, especially with like dairy products, that, you know, if you're choosing yogurt, somebody at my door getting a package. If you're choosing dairy products, you have to be aware about added ingredients like yogurt, how much sugar is in there, and other things, right? And flavored milks and things like that. So processed cheeses are not really cheeses, you know, not real stuff. So be careful with there. But I looked at several different sources and created a comprehensive list of some of the top proteins that are not in any particular order, but they are, uh, here they go. So eggs, a large egg has 6 grams. So if you have 2 eggs, you got 12 grams. You have almost maybe a third of what you need. No, not quite a third. You need more than that. You probably have 6, maybe 20% of what you need, depending on who you are and your needs, right? But 12 grams to start off your breakfast is pretty good. Cottage cheese is really good, 28 grams. Now, I don't know if that's the low fat or the whole cheese. I don't know. Turkey breast, 26 grams. The fish varies greatly. So a can of tuna, which is usually a 3-ounce can of tuna, is 27 grams. Be sure to get the kind in water, not oil. And salmon, a 3-ounce piece of salmon is 19 ounces. So you can see there's a big difference in there. Greek yogurt is really good, 17 grams. Shrimp, 3 ounces of shrimp. That's one of my favorites. Chicken breast with no skin is 53 grams. I'm assuming that's a 3 to 4 ounce piece. Chicken breast is, so, you know, they just said chicken breast. I'll have to look that up and adjust that one. A cup of whole milk has 8 grams, and lean beef, 3 ounces, 25 grams. So you can see that even like chicken is a really good source of protein over lean beef. And tuna is even better than beef. Plus, you're not getting the fat associated with the beef, even though it's lean. And then plant-based, you've got black beans, oats. Who knew oats had that much protein in it? My husband will often make a protein shake, and he'll start with oats and he'll grind them up really fine into and kind of pulverize them first and then add his other ingredients. And he adds a protein powder too. So he's really getting a high protein on that one. But oats is great. Quinoa is pretty good for a grain. A cup is 8 grams. So that's good. Here's the difference with the milk. So whole milk, cow's milk is 8 grams in a cup, whereas soy milk is another good choice at 6.3 grams. But if you're using oat milk or almond milk, those plant-based, you're only getting 1 gram per cup. Nuts are a great source. So there's pistachios and almonds, peanuts, they're all on the list. Hemp is a seed, and that one has 3 grams per tablespoon. So that's great. And that's one of those things that I talked about, or I hinted at earlier, about something that you can sprinkle in to other things. So when I make my cereal in the morning, I use an einkorn wheat product cereal. I add some grape nuts to it. And then I sprinkle it with hemp seeds, chia seeds, flaxseed or flaxseed meal. All of those things are adding extra protein to my breakfast. In addition to nuts, I always add walnuts in there too. So you can boost up the protein content of anything. I mean, you could even try maybe using hemp seed or chia seeds to I don't know, coat your fish or your chicken before you cook it, right? And add, up the protein. Lentils are great. Black lentils are probably even better. So 1 cup of regular lentils is 18 grams, but if you use black lentils, it would be 24 grams for a cup. So that's pretty darn good. That's close to a cup of lentils. Black lentils would almost equal chicken breasts, right? Good stuff. Tempeh, which is a soybean product, is 31 grams. And then we got pumpkin seeds, Ezekiel bread, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts made this list. Guava. I don't know that I've ever had guava other than maybe a juice or in a juice, like not even a pure juice. So lots of different options there. And again, if you're not getting enough animal-based protein, or if you're trying to avoid that, there's lots of ways to get protein through your plants and nuts, seeds, all of that good stuff. I'm going to stop the share with that one and show you another one, which is just veggies. I found another video. Oops, I just shared the same one. Sorry. Let's try that again. This one is the one I want. Are you seeing the right one?
Yes.
There you go. You know what it was? I didn't have it moved on my screen. So, all right. So these again are not great, except for if you look at chickpeas. Chickpeas are amazing. So, enjoy your hummus. But some of these other ones, like green peas, are a really good one, because that's sort of falls in the legume. And that word I was looking for was pulse last week.
Right.
Or the pulses are actually the part that you eat. The plant is called a legume, but the bean itself is called a pulse. So green peas are good. Chickpeas are great. And then these other vegetables contain quite a bit of protein. When you think about it, these are all, actually look at the chickpeas. That's a half a cup is 20. So a whole cup would be 40. That's amazing. I don't know if I could eat a whole cup of chickpeas in one setting, but sprinkle them on your salad, right? Or enjoy hummus. But all of these other ones are a cup. And so you're adding. So again, with a vegetarian diet or a vegan diet or plant-based, and you're not eating a lot of animal protein, you are still getting protein through your different vegetables. So a cup of asparagus is 5 grams of protein. Not enough for your whole day, but a good supplement for other things that you're doing, right?
But you're usually going to have different combinations of your of your vegetables too. So, I mean, if you eat asparagus and avocado and hummus, I mean, you already have, at those amounts, you already have 30 grams of protein there
Yeah.
with chickpeas. Is that what I said? Chickpeas, asparagus, and
You said
avocado.
hummus, but yeah, chickpeas. Yeah, I could eat a half a cup of hummus with something. That could be a meal for me.
Hmm.
You know, dip in your broccoli. I don't know if I could dip Brussels sprouts in the hummus. I don't know. That doesn't sound right, but broccoli, cauliflower. You could,
You can make a big salad with spinach and
right,
broccoli, cauliflower, all those things.
right. And sweet corn. I think we have corn almost every night. And when it's left over, I shave it up and put it in other things. And last night we had a soup that Dick made. It was like a vegetable soup. So we had taken the sweet corn off the husk and put that in there. We had corn on the cob with the soup, and we had a bunch of cut up vegetables. None that are on this list, but I had some sweet corn dip that I had found. So I had corn on every aspect of my dinner last night. But also adding things like if you're making a soup, add some quinoa to it, right? Add some green peas, or lentil soup is great. So there's lots and lots of choices out there for getting enough protein, which is why I think in general we get enough protein unless you're totally vegan and you're not getting any animal-based protein. Then I think you might need to pay attention a lot more to see. But as I said before, I think that should be your homework, right? To track your protein, track it over the course of a week or maybe a few days if a week is too much, and just see, am I getting enough protein, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or snacks, or throughout the day for what I should be, you know, what my weight and my activity level says I should be. So again, if you want that formula, take your weight and
Divide it by 2.2 pounds.
divide by 2.2, and then take that quotient and multiply it by 0.8.
Right.
Unless you're an athlete, and then you can multiply it by 1 or 1.2, or, you know, if you're an Olympic athlete, anybody watching an Olympic athlete, then you can multiply it by 2, I suppose. But yeah, so try that out, figure out how much you're supposed to get. And you know what, if you are trying to lose weight, you don't want to decrease that so much. You want to think about your calories, but that protein is how you're going to build your lean muscle, right? And so don't decrease your protein, maybe decrease some of the other things, but don't think, oh, I shouldn't eat that much protein because I want to lose weight. Eat that protein, but decrease other things like the carbs or the fats or whatever. So, yep. So now that we've talked about it a little bit more and seen those numbers, do you still think you don't get enough protein?
I think I'm pretty close.
Yeah.
I don't think I lack as much as I thought I did.
What do you think, Mary?
Not close.
Not close? Okay. Well, I'd be curious if you guys, if we'll revisit this. I'm going to make a note that homework,
Homework.
Protein homework.
protein numbers. So we'll have a place to start with next week's discussion and see where we're at. So, do you have any questions about nutrition, or, you know, it doesn't have to be about protein, but where should we go next with this? There's so many different topics. Kathy and I talked about going into organics a little bit more, but I don't think I want to do that next week. I want to try something different. So, any suggestions, Mary, about where we should go next with this nutrition path that we're taking?
Fats.
Fat.
Because I'm looking at the keto diet
Okay.
and they eat a lot of fat in
So
the
it's good
keto
fats
diet.
versus bad fats.
Yeah, they eat a lot of
That's
fat.
mainly what maybe we should talk about good fats and bad fats,
Yeah, yeah.
or
And
fats that are
especially,
not so good for you.
I did the keto diet for a while and I lost some weight. I lost a little weight. Um, but what happened when I got my blood numbers, that I was so pleased that my sugar numbers went down, but my cholesterol went higher than it's almost ever been. And that was because I wasn't eating the right kinds of fats. And I decided that the keto diet's not for me if because I wasn't doing it right. Also, diets don't work. So being on a keto diet is short term only. And what happens is when you go off of it, you regain your old habits and the weight comes back. So you have to be really careful about, if you do a keto diet to jumpstart weight loss, that when you go off the keto diet, which everybody has to do because that's not sustainable, it's not healthful, but when you go off the keto diet, that you have a plan in place for how you're going to maintain and not go backwards and end up doing that yo-yo thing. I will put in the comments all of the links that I used today, and Kathy will put hers in there. And also there's some great videos. I highly recommend going to Whitney English it's WhitneyERD.com. So she's a registered dietitian. She's plant-based, and I love her philosophy of predominantly plant-based, so that you're not really denying yourself that you can't go out with friends and,
Mhm.
splurge once in a while or have ice cream. And I loved her story because she talked about going to a convention in Italy and learning all about plant-based and deciding, bye Mary, we'll see you next
Bye,
time.
Mary.
Deciding to do plant-based, but she was like, but I'm in Italy and there's pizza and pasta and gelato, and I can't say no to all that stuff. So she developed her philosophy of predominantly plant-based, which I love. I think that's
Mhm.
where I'd like to be. I'd like to be
Well,
more.
that's her vacation meals. That's
Yeah.
what our chiropractor calls it. You follow your eating plan, whatever it is, whether it's plant-based or whatever, you're following an eating plan, but you allow yourself in certain situations, and I'm not saying allow yourself weekly to
Right,
have many different vacation meals,
right,
but they do have, they do say it's okay to have that vacation meal and don't beat yourself up about it.
right.
It doesn't mean that the entire time on on vacation, you're eating 3 bad meals a day, or your vacation meals a day, but
I think you have to, I wouldn't even call it vacation meals because, some people they live for a vacation and then only comes once a year. So,
right,
I think of a percentage, and maybe it's a low percentage. Maybe right now, 60% of the time you eat plant-based, right? And then increase that until you feel more comfortable so that you get to an 80 or a 90% plant-based with the 10% being the other things.
right.
Whatever. I mean, that's just a choice that I am trying to make, and I'm not anywhere near 90% right now. But it takes time, and it's not something you can do cold turkey, but it is a lifestyle change, not a diet. And that word diet gets a bad name because it is my diet, but it's my eating plan, as you said, not a temporary diet. Has that bad connotation of being
Right, I
temporary,
agree.
and diets don't work because of that, because they're temporary and we go back to bad habits. So lifestyle changes means that you're making
Good
positive
choices.
choices uh, that are going to accumulate and you're going to stick with. They become habits.
Right.
But yeah, I like Mary's suggestion of going to fats.
I do too.
Next week, we're gonna not talk about chicken. We're gonna talk about fats. That was always my daughter's thing. I don't know where this came from, but you go, I want some chicken. But because I'm not eating so much plant-based, I don't have as fat of a face. All right, I just did that on Zoom. All right, you got any plans for exercise today or to get active or any fun
I
stuff?
did my first set of exercises this morning,
Mhm.
and then maybe later this afternoon, depending on weather here, we may be golfing. So
Nice.
there'll be some fun exercises compared to the routine stuff in the
I might
morning.
think about golfing. My hip still hurts, but if I only do 9 instead of 18, it might work. Might take a bike ride, see if I can get on the bike with my hip. I did my stretching this morning and I wanted to get on my rebounder, but I was dealing with a customer problem and I got behind on my time. So I'll go do some rebounding now and get healthy. So, all right.
Right.
Any last words?
Nope. I think
USDA organic. That's my last words.
we're good on time today too.
Yes. Yeah. All right.
All
Well,
right.
have a great week. We'll
You
see ya.
too.
See you
Talk
next
to you
week.
soon.
We'll talk about fats.
Okay.
All right.
Bye now.
Bye.